Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
And I'm Pepper.
And today we're giving our first impressions of Forever Home, which is a game coming from Birdwood Games, who I think at least two of their games have been dog themed.
Yeah.
And they're the only two dog themed games we own, which is Dog Park and now Forever Home. And this was one that I would say initially I was like, this is probably a little bit light. So I feel like I wasn't as interested in this one as Dog Park when we got it.
Yeah, I was thinking it could be maybe capitalizing on the popularity of Dog Park and
Yeah.
be not a cash grab, but just kind of like, oh, let's just make more in there. And like you said, it might be a little light.
Mm-hmm. But then I was like, I still want, good dog themed games, and sometimes you need some lighter games to round out your collection. I'm usually a little bit more, I like the crunchier games, heavier, I don't know, more strategic games, heavy strategy games. And typically these aren't the games that I always go towards, but you need some to round out your collection.
Yeah.
And I thought this would be one that maybe our mom would be able to play, and it's got an approachable theme that she would really like. So kind of the combo of those two things, I was like, okay, yeah, we've got to definitely at least try this one out. This one is a game where it's kind of an action point game where you can do kind of just a few different things. It's not too many. It's not like an overwhelming amount of actions. You can either take kind of this dog card that has kind of a polyomino shape on it, or you can take different tokens which are kind of different, which are different colors but are different dog types technically, and place those onto your board as an action, or you can kind of move those tokens on your board into a different position.
Yeah. So you're trying to get the tokens to represent the shapes on those cards, to then fulfill those cards, which could get you points at the end of the game and get you to find homes for those dogs that helped make that shape. It doesn't get all of them. Some of them do stay on the board sometimes, but it'll note whether you get one or two that then go to different homes, and depending on the homes that you have that game, you get to choose a few different ones. They have different scoring conditions, so you might want to send maybe a red dog to the suburbs because of that scoring condition the suburbs has. So there's just a bunch of little things here and there, but the core of it is creating those shapes with those dogs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a pretty simple concept, and usually, at least the ones that we saw, it was either it's pretty much one or two types, right?
Yeah.
You need like two green ones in that area and two red ones. It wouldn't specifically say the colors, but
two of a color,
two of a color,
and
two of another color. Yep. So I feel like that was pretty simple and leaves it pretty open.
Yeah.
But then the goals kind of maybe they're not, they don't force you into something, but they kind of give you a direction of, these are a little bit more important. Green might be a little bit more important in this type of thing than red or whatever. So I'd rather draft green if I can. But sometimes you're just going to be left with what's out there, which is fine as well. I going into it, like I said, my expectations probably weren't too high. But as we played it, I was like, okay, I think this has got a couple interesting things about it, where the different dog colors are going to kind of score differently in each game. You kind of put out randomly these dogs, and then you want either the largest group of dogs,
the most
in one
in your still in your area, your sanctuary area, the most that have been brought into homes, and then the most that have gone to different types of homes.
Yes.
So that is it's pretty minimal, because I think those points are like 3, 2, and 1 for having the most of this kind, most of that kind, most of that kind. So sometimes you're fighting for it for just 1 point, but it does help you kind of be a little bit of a tiebreaker when those tokens maybe aren't ideal to choose from.
Right. Yeah. 100%. It's definitely something you probably don't want to focus solely on, but I do like that that's changing, and then I really like the kind of different goals. So these kind of interact with each other slightly, where the different goals want you to put them in different areas. So it kind of feels like you're kind of putting them into different buckets to score at the end of the game, which I think is pretty cool. And some of them kind of can sort of have a push your luck element to them because you can start adding certain colors to something, but maybe it needs a set of these 4 different colors. So you could maybe have by the end of the game 3 of the colors in there, but not the 4th, and then you get nothing. So I do like that as well. But risk versus reward, you might get a ton of points if you do get it. So I thought that was pretty cool because then I think there's always this option of any dog in this one gets you a point or whatever. So it's like, well, you can get that for sure point, or you can go for this bigger chunk of points. Where,
I do wonder what that would have ended up with. Just the amount of dogs that we did end up putting out there. If we had just put everything into the 1.1, I mean, probably would have ended up better for some because I think you kind of went towards set collection ones.
Set one and did not
a certain type of dog. I think only one came out by the time that you could even choose, and it was just so that is a factor with the way the tokens work. A dog type might never come out, but I think that's just kind of this level of game that's
we played
pretty
at 2
acceptable.
Too, so there was a little less taking of dogs and stuff. So in a 3 or 4 player game, you'll probably see a few more of them. But there's still a chance that during your turn you might not see something. But there's always a little bit of luck. Not always in games, but in later games there's usually some element of luck typically. And I'm totally fine with it in this game because it's a pretty short game as well. It's kind of based on how many cards or a person completes. Once someone completes seven cards or 7 kind of the shape that you need to do.
And the cards complete themselves automatically when they're filled, which is one good because you don't have to take an action to do it, but also you might want to complete 1 card first and then that one. But if 2 complete this one's gonna be automatically completed first. Then it's like, okay, I got to think about this a little more and try to work around that. And sometimes you can kind of get stuck, and it's like, well, I guess that's completed, so I have to complete this card and send some dogs out, and that might mess up your board a little bit. So that was a pretty interesting aspect.
It makes you double think just in case in certain situations. There's sometimes where you wouldn't have 2 cards that kind of work together. You want to, I want to complete this one first, which will get rid of a dog, but I'll still have the pattern I need for both of them. But that'll come up, so that's an interesting little thing. I agree. But I would say after our first game of it, I would put this one at probably about a 7, which is probably about average for me. It's one that probably get out a couple times a year maybe, or if someone really wanted to play it, I'm definitely open to playing it. It definitely is one that can kind of fill in a gap in the night of just trying to do a lighter, quicker game to maybe if you have a bigger group, maybe they're finishing up a game or something, and I think it fits perfectly in there.
I think I'll give this an 8.25. I really enjoyed this one. I thought that, like you said, it's very approachable, but enough unique things in there, and the artwork's fantastic. I love dogs and love the theme, and I think I do prefer this one. Not that they're similar gameplay-wise, but I do prefer this one to Dog Park. I don't know, something about Dog Park. It's a lighter weight game, but it doesn't feel that approachable for what it is. And this one, I think, feels as approachable as it should be. And I think it delivers satisfying kind of polyomino gameplay, which I always enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. But if you've made it this far and you want to see kind of what's inside the box, you can check out our unboxing video that we have going up alongside this.
And a fantastic bag this game.
It was a great bag, so you better go check that part out for sure. But otherwise, if you like our content, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to see future content. But otherwise, we hope to see you on our other videos, and as always, don't forget to
keep on nibbling
on our content.